There are many places in the Bible that I love to read and reread. These two chapters hold some of my most favorite verses. They include direction, praising, and encouragement. This week, we will be reading Philippians chapters 3 and 4. The blog will concentrate on chapter 3 for Monday and Tuesday, with devotions by Jane, followed by the reading of chapter 4 for Wednesday and Thursday with devotions by Bart. And Friday, there will be some added information about Paul, our great evangelist. As I have stated in the first video for Philippians, rejoicing is a large part of this book. Paul opens chapter 3 by telling us that if we cannot rejoice in our circumstances, we can always rejoice in the Lord who controls our circumstances. Then in verses 2 through 11, Paul has us look at what we have and what we wish we had. He did not feel he had lost anything worthwhile by trusting Christ. Instead, he gained everything really worth living for. Verses 12 through 16 speak of Christians reaching with their eyes on the goal. To look back at past successes or failures, or to look around to see what others are doing or saying, is to invite defeat. The only mention of tears in the letter of joy is the verses 17 through 19. Paul wept over professed Christians who lived to please themselves instead of Christ. The chapter closes with Paul looking up and eagerly anticipating the return of the Lord. Chapter 4 opens with the theme of Paul's letter. Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. We are then given guidance from the Lord about our anxiety and instructed to keep our minds on what is good and remember how Jesus the Christ lived and do likewise. Finally, giving thanks in all things with contentment and with the knowledge that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, is how Paul closes. A good summary of this chapter is to remember the 4 R's. 1, rejoice in everything. 2, reveal our gentleness to everyone. Christ in us. 3, reject worrying about everything. And 4, request from God with thanksgiving. Rejoice, reveal, reject, request. Completion of another book. We have studied 23 books of the Bible along with some Psalms and Proverbs since we began in October 2020. If you are searching for some thoughts or devotions on another book, just search for it on the blog with a looking glass icon to see if we have covered it. Where will we be next week? You will have to check in and see, because Biblical Shakers makes reading the Bible way more enjoyable for you. I pray the Lord will put a hunger on your heart